Hello, everybody. I guess you are wondering why an American is making a Filipino traditional dish. Well, with Ann and I being in a long distance relationship, there just aren't Filipino restaurants here in the United States. So I had to learn how to actually make chicken adobo. I can make pork adobo and pork and chicken adobo, but today I'm just going to make chicken adobo. And I have actually done a few things to it to actually quicken it up and make it a little bit easier to make, but it still has the traditional flavor and there's no difference. And we did actually, through Anne, actually come up with another way of actually adding something to it to actually make the dish actually pop and have a little bit more flavor. So I'll actually take you now and show you what you need for this traditional Filipino dish. Chicken adobo, American style. Okay, first off, you're going to need some chicken. Get some cut up chicken, some thighs, some wings, some legs. You're going to need apple cider vinegar. You'll need about a cup to a cup and a half of apple cider vinegar. You'll need a cup to a cup and a half of soy sauce. Then you'll actually need some peppercorn, black peppercorn. You'll actually need bay leaves. You will actually need 6 cloves of garlic. You'll need a medium-sized onion. And then you'll also need approximately 2 cups of rice in a rice cooker. And you're going to want to wash that rice and make sure that all the white is off of it and just use whatever flavor of rice that you like. And then I use a 5-quart pan. And then the way that I make it, I actually use a lid on it, which I'll actually show you how I use the lid. The peppercorn I actually do different than most people. I don't put the actual whole peppercorn in there. I'll actually use the peppercorn grinder and grind the peppercorn down with the grinder and make it so that you're not chewing peppercorns when you're actually having the chicken adobo. The other difference that I have is that well, I'll actually tell you about that in a little bit. Alright, so you'll start off with your measuring cup. And you'll actually bring your pan on over. So here's the pan. So I've got my measuring cup. And I will actually start with the soy sauce. And we'll try not to make a mess because I'm doing this with one hand. Alright, I've got my 1 cup of soy. I will pour that right into the pan. Next, I will open up my apple cider vinegar. Now they make different types of vinegar, and I've actually tried white vinegar, and white vinegar actually is really good with this dish too. And then depending on what country you're in, Philippines or United States or other countries, they do have other flavored vinegars, and when you use those, I've tried it, it actually does give the dish a different type of taste each time that you actually use a different type of vinegar. Some of the vinegars have actually different flavors to them. And it is nice to actually experiment with that, but I'm actually making the traditional chicken adobo instead of actually making a variation of it this time. I'll cook a variation another time. Alright, so the next thing is that I'm going to want to actually put in, which I minced my garlic earlier, which is about six cloves. So here we go. So I put it in, stir it in. So I've got my garlic in there now. The next thing I will do is I will add my medium onion. And here's my medium onion. I diced it. Now many people will actually do variations of this, which they will marinate the meat for a little while. But my variation is actually cooking it a little bit quicker, and it actually takes less time. Here is the peppercorn. I'm putting in the peppercorn. Ground, it's about 1 teaspoon of peppercorn. And then I wait on the bay leaves for a second. My next thing that I do, which is different than what most people do, is I add my chicken. So we'll put all of our chicken pieces in. So we've got all the chicken pieces in. Now many of you will be looking at that and saying, hey, that chicken's actually not able to be cooked that way because of it's not in the actual soy sauce. So this is a variation that I learned, and I actually really like this variation. And it is adding cups of water. So you have your cup of vinegar and you have your cup of soy in there. You go ahead and actually top it off with water to bring the soy and the vinegar up over the chicken so that when you bring it to a boil, you can actually boil your chicken and cook it at the same time, and then it's really easy to actually cook the stock down. Now with mine, I actually have a full pan, so you notice that the color actually changed. That's what you actually pay attention to. So I'm going to add an actual extra half cup, so I will be using a cup and a half of vinegar and a cup and a half of soy sauce because I want that dark, rich, black color that you get from the soy sauce. The water will boil off, so there's absolutely no problems with this dish and boiling it down. And it actually gives it a marinated flavor because of the fact that you're boiling it down. So cooking it this way, you don't actually have to wait and marinate it in the refrigerator for 2 or 3 hours. You can actually just cook it down. But the big variation for us is that for us, we've added everything. We added our soy sauce, our apple cider vinegar, our peppercorns, our garlic, our onion, and now I'm adding 5 to 6 bay leaves. There's 2.5. They're stuck, so I'll get them out. Whoops, a bit too many. It's alright, I'll just take a couple away. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I got to take about 3 or 4 away. Trying to do this with one hand is interesting, but it works. Okay, so I'll take my spoon and I'll actually put those in different spots so that the bay leaves are in there. And next, I put in a half a cup of white sugar. Many of you will be like, whoa, what are you doing? Why is that sugar in there? Well, until you try the dish with the sugar, don't knock it. The sugar actually equalizes the flavor and helps it actually go through the entire dish and through the meat, and it actually flavors up the entire dish and actually makes it taste even better. So now I'll actually cover this. I'll bring it to a boil first, but then I'll actually cover it and I'll simmer it for 10 to 12 minutes. And while it's simmering, I'll actually start on the rice, but let me bring it to a boil first, which won't take too long because I'm on an electric stove, so they actually heat up really quick. And while that's going, many of you know that the rice, we can actually start in it while the dish is actually getting ready to boil. I'm putting all of my caps on my stuff so that I don't spill anything while I have my one hand that's working the camera and trying to show you how I cook this dish. I'll bring my rice cooker over. I'll actually plug it in. And then I need to get my measuring cup. Now I've already taken 2 cups of rice and actually put it in the rice cooker. I've already washed the rice so that you wash it and rinse it until there's no white left on it. And then now I'll actually put in 2 1/4 cups of water. I actually put in just a tad bit more water than what's called for because that's the way that I like it. It makes the rice a little less sticky and nice and fluffy in the rice cooker. So I got 2 cups of water, and then actually I'll put another about a 1/4 cup. And there we go, 2 1/4 cups of water. I'll put the lid on the rice cooker, push it back, switch that to cook, which I forget to do all the time, which you can't cook rice if you don't switch it to cook. Now we're back to the chicken adobo. I'll put the lid on it for now to actually heat it up a little bit faster. Cleaning up my space a little bit so that I don't have a mess all over the place. Once this boils, simmer it for about 10 to 12 minutes, which will actually cook the chicken. But the thing is that the chicken won't be fully cooked, which is okay, because in this dish we actually have to reduce the water. So in a full rapid boil, you're actually going to only have this dish covered for about 10 minutes, and that's actually to marinate the chicken to get the flavor and the juice and the soy sauce and the apple cider vinegar to actually penetrate the chicken. So while it's actually boiling, it will actually penetrate the chicken. And if you look at this chicken right now, you can see the crown of this is actually still the white color that it was before. And already we're getting that nice dark color that the chicken should get as it actually marinates in the juices. But I mean, not taking 2 hours to 3 hours to marinate this actually in the refrigerator, you can definitely get away from doing that by actually doing it the way that I'm doing it. You just got to bring it to the full boil, which does take a little bit with a pan that's this large. But it doesn't take too long because, again, I've got an electric stove. So as that actually marinates, and I've got my rice cooking, I will pause this video and I will actually record more on it when I actually bring it to a boil. So I'll be right back with you in a couple of minutes. Okay, it's been about 3 minutes and we actually are starting to get a rapid boil. Which I don't know if you can see the nice little bubbles that are forming around there. We're getting a nice foam and the nice bubbles that are starting to form all over, which is exactly what we want. So what we're going to do is now we're going to put the lid on it. We're going to cover this. We're going to actually turn our temperature down to about a medium low, and then we're going to actually set a timer and simmer this for about 11 minutes. So the reason that we're simmering this for 11 minutes, which there's my timer, is so that it actually can penetrate the meat while it's simmering, and it partially actually cooks that raw chicken. So we'll get about 10 minutes of the cooking time when it takes about anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes to normally actually cook chicken all the way through. We do have our rice that's cooking over here at the same time, so the rice prep we don't have to worry about. It'll be done about the same time as the dish. So I'll go ahead and pause this again for about 11 minutes, and then I will actually show you how we rapid boil this down. That's a process that I use for another dish that I make that I'll actually show everybody how to make, which is my carnitas, which are extremely good. People absolutely love them, and the way that I make my carnitas is not like the way that everybody else makes theirs, so it's way, way different. But that'll be another dish that I'll make for you guys another day. Today we are actually making the chicken adobo, and it already looks mouth-watering to me. Looks absolutely beautiful there. And we'll let it simmer now. So I will be back in 9 minutes now. So I'll pause you again. Alright, I'm back again, and the 9 minutes of simmering is over. which it's actually right there. Now what we'll do is turn the heat all the way up to high. We've actually had it simmer for 9 minutes. And now if you look, the chicken's actually got that real nice deep color. And if you notice, you see that this doesn't, but that's okay, because you just actually spoon turn all of the pieces of chicken so that they turn upside down in the nice juice that we have. So turn them all over. Just the ones that are actually not soaked, we'll be turning them over. There we go. And now we will actually rapid boil this, which means we'll be actually reducing all of the juice off of it, all the water. So we'll be boiling the water out and reducing the amount of sauce that we have. So we're reducing it so that it'll actually thicken up, and it'll actually be a lot less water. So I'll have to bring this to a rapid boil first, and while we're doing that, I'll actually remind everybody what's in here. You have 1 medium onion, you have 6 to 7 bay leaves, you have 6 to 7 cloves of garlic, you have a cup to a cup and a half of soy sauce, a cup to a cup and a half of apple cider vinegar. Peppercorn that you have in here would be 1 tablespoon if you're using the peppercorns whole. It would be 1 teaspoon if you grind your peppercorns, and I actually suggest grinding your peppercorns, because then it doesn't give you that crunchy peppercorn that's actually in the finished product. So when you have your finished chicken adobo, you can just actually not worry about the peppercorn that's in it. It actually is looking really good. And then I also have a 1/2 cup of sugar in mind, which the 1/2 cup of sugar actually changes the flavor just a slight bit. It actually evens out the flavor, and it actually gives it a very good flavor. I've tried it without the sugar, and I've tried it with the sugar, and I like it with the sugar. The reason that we actually use the water to being over the top of the chicken is to take away the time from marinating this. Meaning that if you actually had to marinate this for 3 to 4 hours, it does actually take more time. This dish, doing it the way that I do it, actually takes about 35 to 45 minutes, but in the end it actually tastes as good as if the chicken was actually marinated. Turning on my vent fan so that it'll actually pull the water away quicker for me. Which eventually I'll actually have to turn the vent fan on all the way up on high. And as we're coming into a rapid boil, you can see that it's actually boiling really nice, but you can see that rich, dark caramel, almost black color that the sauce will actually take, and the chicken actually will darken as it finishes cooking, so that it'll actually take on that real rich dark color. And I will reduce the liquid down to a little bit more than half down in the pan. So meaning I'll reduce it by half of what's in there right now. So meaning that it'll take a little bit of time. I will actually pause it again. It does take about 10 to 15 minutes to actually reduce it. But again, reducing it will finish cooking the chicken thoroughly. It'll make the chicken extremely tender and flaky. It will fall off the bone. And the rest of the dish will actually be identical to what the traditional chicken adobo is. I like actually using the water and actually doing it this way and reducing it down. It doesn't take much time, and it actually If you have time to marinate it actually in the refrigerator, you can go ahead and do that. But the way that I do it actually guarantees that you'll thoroughly cook your chicken, and the chicken actually comes out more tender and moist, to the point that the chicken falls off the bone. All right, I will actually pause you again, and I'll reduce this down, and I'll bring you back on just before it's finished cooking and just before we're ready to actually plate the dish. Hello again, I'm back after about 15 minutes. Maybe it's been about 20 minutes. As you can see that it's actually rapidly boiling really nice. It has actually reduced the sauce down quite considerably. We're down about an inch, which we're pretty close, meaning that I don't know that I actually want to reduce this much more. Reason being is that the color just looks amazing. If you look at the color, it's a dark, rich, beautiful, beautiful brown. And I think if I actually did a taste test on this, I would be willing to bet that this is actually going to taste really, really good. Oh my God. Yeah, that is, oh, perfect. It's got a real deep, rich flavor. So I think I am actually going to not reduce this one anymore. So all in all, I've got 11 minutes in simmering it. I've got 25 minutes in actually rapid boiling it and cooking the meat. And that meat just looks heavenly. I mean, I could show you a piece of this. There's a thigh that I'm bringing up. Just looks perfect. It's got that dark, rich tone. The skin looks good. Whoops, I'm fogging up my camera. Sorry. But then it's got that rich tone that you need for the chicken. And the chicken is just, you can spoon it off. It is so tender and moist. So the next thing I will do is I will actually plate this dish for everybody to see. Just let me get a little organized so that I can do that. I'll get a, hold on one second, I'll let you watch the dish. I'll shut off my vent fan so that you can hear me again, so that it's not so loud. I got out my rice spoon, and let's check out the rice. It's actually on warm, so it's finished. White rice, perfect, perfect, fluffy, fluffy white rice. Look at that, just fluffy. Tender, not sticky, it flakes real nice. It's not perfect rice. So I'll take the rice and I'll plate it. And not more than what I want to eat, because I don't want to waste food, because I can actually store this and use it for lunches, use it for other meals. And the nice thing about that rice spoon, it was developed so it could be actually kept in the pot. Come back over to my chicken adobo and look at that. Oh, it just looks so good. Nice, nice, rich, dark tones to it. And I will go ahead and plate. I got chicken wings, I got chicken thighs, I got chicken drumsticks. But I think that I want, oh, here's a drumstick for you. Here's where I'll tell you that doing it this way, that it's just heavenly. The meat pulls away from the bone, and it actually has feathered the meat even away from the drumstick there, so that will just fall off as it hits your plate. There is a breast, so I'll pick it up, I'll plate it. There we go. And then of course, this is the reason that I also like having the extra juice. I take a small ladle that I got with actually my rice cooker, and I will actually take that and put it with the rice. So I'll actually dash my rice in it so that I have some of the juice that permeates and goes through the white rice. And there we have it. Chicken adobo, traditional Filipino style. And I will actually show you that you can actually even peel the skin off with a spoon, and you can actually peel the meat off with a spoon. So it's tender, it falls right off the bone. There's no problem with actually eating this with a spoon. You don't even need a fork. It takes the meat right off with the spoon. And then I will take a bite. Oh. Hold on one second. Alright, I am recording the front view instead of the back view now. And I will take a second bite because I haven't even salted this to taste. Oh, it is heavenly. The chicken just literally melts in your mouth. The rice is super light and fluffy, which there's the light and fluffy, which I'll try to turn it and give you a little pick. There's the chicken and the rice. And I will take a bite of this, and it is super good. It is the exact flavor that I have whenever I go to the Philippines. There is many restaurants that we love to go and eat in the Philippines, and this actually tastes identical. It is so good. You have to try my recipe. Oh, the chicken is just so light and tender and moist, and the flavor of the soy sauce and the apple cider vinegar with all of the spices in it, it is just a perfect blend. I am so pleased with the way that this turned out. Thank you for watching. I love you, Asawa Ko. I miss you, Ann. And I know you'll be watching this, and it's going to make your mouth water, and you're going to wish that you were here eating this with me. And I completely wish that you were here with me eating this too. Until we meet again, Ann, when I fly over there, which is soon, Ann and I will be doing Palawan, and we will actually be putting together some amazing videos because we're doing everything when we go over to Palawan. So thank you for watching. Take care, and again, God bless. And mahal, na mahal, na mahal, na mahal, kita, Asawa Ko. I love you, Ann. Bye.